Hello, I'm Deadly. In this video, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about how to play the hybrid Vindicta build that I played to reach Eternus. Okay, so here's the plan. I'm going to be reviewing this match I played that I thought I did pretty well in. We're going to be talking about the play style, the point order, the ability order, and just in general, what is the point of a hybrid Vindicta build. It's going to be pretty long, so go ahead and check the timestamps in the description if you want to skip to a certain part of the match. But yeah. So I think I'll just go ahead and start off by, let's talk about what a hybrid build is. So in my opinion, I think the hybrid build is pretty much going to be the most well-rounded and optimal way to play Vindicta. I spent a lot of time, if you watch my other video, where I reviewed Donjo, who is I think the highest ranked Vindicta player in NA at least. He hit Eternus 5 playing pretty much only Vindicta, which is pretty sick, which is like tied for top 3. And so I spent a lot of time kind of talking with him. I reviewed one of his videos. I actually just trolled here. We're going to go ahead and just ignore that even happened. And there's some feed out on the screen. And I spent a lot of time talking with him about, you know, theory crafting some builds. And I took some stuff from his build. So shout out to him. And I came up with this hybrid build that I played all of the previous week of ranked and was able to reach Eternus. So the point of the build is to take advantage of Vindicta's really solid gun damage and then kind of transition into late game Crow, because the Crow scales super well late game. So let's go ahead and just talk about now my sort of ability point order here at the beginning of the match. Now, one thing I did not take into account when I was playing is I just kind of was sleeping on the fact that I was laning against Geist and Yamato, which have super early game, tons of spirit chunk damage, and I just was playing really silly and I died because of it. Definitely a little bit of a wake-up call, and now I'm focused for the rest of the match. And what I always do is I always like to go Crow early, just because it's a good poke, and it's pretty straightforward. From there, you can either go Flight or Stake. I like to go Stake because if they're playing aggressive on me, you know, you can catch them out and then your creeps can do a lot of damage to them. They don't have monster rounds, something like that. But otherwise, you really do hit your power spike once you have your Flight and your Stake up. So I'm going to be playing pretty careful now because we're already down, obviously, because I died, until I get my first couple items, and then I can get Flight. As far as items go for the build, we're pretty conservative on like early weapon items. We just have hollow point ward and high velocity mag. Both of them are super good items for 500 gold. There's a kind of a troll pause here, but you can see that I am using the Stake here to kind of catch this guy out because he's playing pretty aggressive and he's low. And you'll also see that I've got the Flight, so my eyes are on this guy. And one thing you'll notice too is I went ahead and put my ability point into Flight, and I leveled that up to level 2, so I get the extra ammo here. And I am going to go ahead and be able to finish that kill. And I actually am going to be able to put a lot of damage onto the Geist because I had the extra ammo from the flight point. So this point's super important. So don't sleep on that. The 0.5 seconds on Stake is not that big of a deal, and I always save that for later. So back to the items. Hollow point ward is a really good item for a hybrid build just because obviously it gives you good weapon damage. So headshot booster I think is a little bit better if you're trying to be more aggressive in lane and win an aggressive lane. But hollow point ward is really well rounded here. And you see that I'm just kind of trying to get him backed off my boy here. And I was able to get him out. I don't know why I flew, but yeah. Then high velocity mag obviously builds into Pristine Emblem, which is one of the best all-around items for Vindicta as well. So these are kind of no-brainers. The high velocity mag is also nice when you're playing late game and you're kind of in the skybox. There's not as much lag on your bullets to get to the target, and it's not hit scan, but it's close enough. And then you'll see that I went ahead and bought extra charge because I'm getting close to my ult. Extra stamina, just it's pretty self-explanatory. And for my healing item, I decided to go for Healing Right, just because they are kind of like, I don't know, it's really personal preference. There's no reason to choose extra regen or Healing Right. It just depends on what you're feeling that game. I like Healing Right sometimes, and sometimes I like extra regen. One thing to note about Healing Right too is that the movement speed is really pretty solid if you're rotating between lanes. So if I want to go for a gank and I'm like kind of low HP, I can just pop the Healing Right, and I can run across the lane, and I'm gonna get there super fast, and I'll be, you know, have most of my HP back. I did hit a nice ricochet here. The 1 point in the crow is definitely really nice. It didn't do too much damage, but it backs them up a bit. So you can see for ability point order too, I get my ult and then I put 1 point in there, just so I can kind of be using it more. You'll see throughout this game that I just am trying to put shots on anybody at all times, and you can see that a guy says half HP or under half HP, and I'm just trying to get a shot on her. So I actually had, I'm pretty sure that was a headshot, which is super nice. So then I was able to finish him with a body shot. I do end up dying here, but you know, their Yamato just did a good job of capitalizing on that. Even though I was positioned pretty well, Yamato just does a lot of damage. That being said, I was positioned okay, so I'm gonna be able to get back. I'm speeding back because I want to make sure I get my bag, and I want to make sure she doesn't dive the tower or something. And it looks like their guys did speed back as well. And then I did just go ahead and get the sprint boots because I wanted to grab them. I was anticipating potentially, you know, I wanted to be going for ganks now that I have my ult. And you'll see now I do just put my 2 points in before this fight. The Yamato's there, so I just want to get out because she can just dive onto me, and I don't like that. But I do put my 2 points into Assassinate. The extra 140 bonus damage for the ult is really, really, really important. It helps finish a lot of kills early game, so definitely the 2 points is way worth it there. Pop the healing right. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get full HP, and you'll see I get my first 1250 item, which is a kinetic dash. Now this is a personal preference for me. I really like this item. Some people clown on me for getting it. It is you know, like I said, a personal preference. I think I miss a couple of shots here, which, you know, happens. But there's a lot of 1250 items that are really good on Vindicta, so I encourage you to try out different things in different scenarios and see what you like. I like kinetic dash just because I find use out of it, like, in all situations. Gonna finish this kill here. Shout out to being able to kill Yamato on her ult now. Thank you, Yoshi, appreciate that. But it's just really versatile because you get the extra free stamina every 10 seconds or so. The fire rate is also really good. Fire rate on Vindicta is really good, and people sometimes forget why. Obviously, shooting more bullets is better. You do more damage per second, but also because you have spirit damage on your flight. If you're shooting faster, you're also getting the buffed spirit damage bullet as well, because you're hitting them with more spirit damage over time. You'll see here that I do go ahead and just go for the divine barrier. I've been taking a ton of chunk damage from the Yamato, so I'm not feeling like I can go aggressive here and start going it straight into a weapon item. Another 1250 weapon item. So I get that slightly more defensive item here, and I do like spirit divine barrier just because it also does give 6 spirit power now. So previously it was did I finish this kill? I missed him. Okay though. Now you see I was fine playing like a little bit more, you know, aggressive there, and I was feeling safe because I knew I had my divine barrier and my team here, and the Yamato got baited a little bit, thinking that she could for sure kill me, but you know, I had the divine barrier, so I was fine. When it comes to, you know, barriers on Vindicta, you'll also often see Enchanter's barrier, combat barrier. These are good items, but for me, I personally just really like divine barrier because it's so versatile. Like I said, it gives a little bit of spirit power. It gives you both shields, which is super nice. Did a really nice shot here on the Wraith. And that is like one of my favorite things to do, is to climb up onto these things and jump over, looking for kills. So a little sus, but once again, I've got the divine barrier, and I kind of bait this guy again. He thinks he's gonna kill me, but I popped that, and so then I was fine. And so once again, like I said, it's very versatile. And then a lot of times, if you have a really good front line, your front line can go in and they'll take all of the aggro off of you, and you can put it on them. And it does end up saving you more HP in the long run anyway, because they're not looking at you. And then on top of that, right, you can just use it to save people, help them get out, and yeah, it's a pretty good item. So see here though, I did save up all of my ability points and I put them into level 5 ult. This is something that I just think is really good. My personal preference to do this, just because if you can get those early kills, like the snowball is just insane. Otherwise, like, you're not going to be really killing people with Crow, in my opinion, like this early. And the Crow scales best into the late game. So
Jin's chains are on cooldown.
I see Yamato.
Let's push green.
as far as items go too, now I did upgrade my enduring speed. Just the movement slow resist is good, and movement speed in general is nice. I grabbed the duration extender and mystic vulnerability. Both of these items, duration extender obviously buffs Crow, but also does buff your flight, and it does have pretty solid stats. Then mystic vulnerability just buffs obviously all of your spirit damage, and it does help your team as well, because it's a overall spirit resist down for the whoever you're shooting. Only take spirit damage. So that's another thing to note too, right? Is because your flight has spirit damage on every bullet, you're proccing all of these abilities that activate on spirit damage. And so one thing I'll talk about a bit later in the game is Healbane. So we want to buy Healbane later because it's best with Crow. It stacks with the negative healing percentage there, diminishingly, but it still stacks with it. And it's just really insane. But if you have an enemy team that has a ton of healing sort of earlier in the game, it's okay to get Healbane because your flight will still proc it if you're not, focusing on Crow. So I just kind of moved to this lane here to put some pressure on that tower to try and... I want my flex spot for our team here. But I'm not going to die for it because it's not that important. So it does not look great for me here. And I think I kind of forgot what side of the map I was on. But shit happens. And I die. I got swapped. As Vindicta, right? The people that you really got to watch out for are Paradox and Bebop. And, sometimes you just get got. And didn't have a whole lot of choice. I guess I probably could have kept going straight instead of going into the tunnel. But for some reason, I had a brain fart and thought maybe I would come out on my side of the map, but it's okay. So instead of buying anything, I do kind of rush here to try and stop our walker from dying, and he just ignores me, unfortunately. But luckily the Abrams is here. My attack speed is slowed, which is annoying. And we're just going to chase this guy and then hopefully kill him. You'll see now as well that I've gone ahead and put 2 points into flight because the extra duration is super nice. It's really annoying. You're in the middle of a team fight and you just fall out of the sky because you don't have the extended duration. There's some builds that actually are kind of funny. They rush the flight to get the extra spirit damage per bullet, which isn't that great late game, but it is good early game. I'm not necessarily a believer, so it is what it is. I'm pushing this lane up just to make space for our urn, which actually worked out super nicely. I do have to be careful. The Paradox almost actually wrecked me there. I'm able to be a little aggressive here because she did miss her ult on me. Up the healing right, go for the headshot on the snipe. I don't quite kill him, which sucks. Like that, getting that extra gold right here at like 13 minutes would have been really good. Instead, I just focus on trying to kill this. And do we get it? Not sure. My team's in, so I'm just like, I gotta finish this. I think I hit the headshot on this guy too, and he was 1 HP, so that's sad. And in the current build, you'll see that I do fill out this extra spirit spot with extra spirit, which I think is pretty good. You don't necessarily have to buy that because you can just put one of the 1250 items there, like improved cooldown. But improved spirit does buff literally all of your abilities. It buffs your ult, so not a bad item to just fill out a slot if you want to focus on building your weapon items, which we will get to that here in a second. So now we're going to be moving into a part of the game where we're like starting to be pretty strong. You see, I'm going to go ahead and buy the alchemical fire and the soul shredder bullets. I could have bought the soul shredder bullets earlier, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and talk about the alchemical fire. I think early on, alchemical fire was an item that was bought very often on Vindicta just because of the super obvious synergy between alchemical fire and stake. Where you throw them, you stake them, and then you also throw the alchemical fire. They're stuck in the flames. You're doing bonus damage on them, and they're also taking spirit damage. But yeah, it's very important to note that they take extra 15% or 50% weapon damage while they're affected, and this also lasts for 5 seconds. On top of that, right, it has a base 14% weapon damage on top of the weapon damage, tier 3 14%. So you're doing almost 28% plus 50%. You're doing 78% bonus weapon damage to people that are in the flames. Really solid. Soul Shredder Bullets, just a really solid like kind of spirit buff item. Also gives you some weapon damage. Buffs your ult, right? 10% spirit amp on like 500 damage, extra 50 damage. Not bad. So you'll see here that with alchemical fire is also really good at taking objectives. I didn't necessarily need it here, but you'll see later on in the game, right? Like the alchemical fire can be used to farm, it can be used to take fights, it can be used to take objectives. It's an all around really solid item. And I'm gonna go for the MLG Snipe. Unfortunately, I missed it, and he tries to come for me, and that's very terrifying. But always have an escape plan, right? So I was okay here. Also why I like the kinetic dash. Well, I was talking about earlier, I'm not sure if I finished that sort of subject, but there's a lot of 1250 items that are really strong, and in the build I have some at the bottom, and definitely experiment with ones that you want. If you want to swap out kinetic dash for something, try Fleetfoot, try Swift Striker. Can't really go wrong with a lot of them. So now, I've got the alchemical fire, which is a big buff, but then I go ahead and go straight into the burst fire. So I'm going to be doing like a lot of weapon damage, especially if I can get them in the alchemical fire on top of, a little bit of spirit damage as well from my spirit items. And burst fire buffs our fire rate, and which we talked about earlier. That's really strong with our flight spirit damage as well. We go ahead and look at the ability point order. I went ahead and put 2 points in the crow, and I'm actually going to not put 2 points into the stake just because there hasn't been a lot of action, and not like an insane amount of action, and I don't necessarily need it. While they're fighting, I'm going to go ahead and go for the walker. You see how fast it just goes from half to 0 with the alchemical fire and me and the warden on it. So I do put the divine barrier on him, and I'm trying to help, but I think he's just dead. So I can hear them behind me, which is why I don't try and break those, because I just don't want to overextend my stay. I'm trying to see what's going to happen here. I'm trying to see if they're going to go to mid, if they're going to take the creeps there. But I'm just trying to get some info while being a little bit careful.
Headed this way.
I tried to steal his creep. I didn't quite get it. I have another 3k souls, and I'd go ahead and finish the pristine emblem. Don't mind what just happened on screen and the fact that I just fell off the zipline as well. And once again, like the pristine emblem is a really insane item for Vindicta. Really solid all around with the spirit power, spirit resist. A lot of times, most of the damage you're taking in the air is spirit because you're not taking a whole lot of weapon damage because of fall off. And then you get the extra weapon damage. And so you'll see that I am saving up to max my crow. Like I said, I could put 2 points in stake if I wanted, but I figured to just max the crow, and then I can put another point in the stake later. It's got some nice denies. it's really important to remember, like, throughout the game, always be hitting denies every single time that you can, right? Like, the guys just threw a spirit bomb and finished off those creeps, and I lost some souls there too as well. But the souls really add up on those denies that you hit late game because you get the full value of them. I'm gonna let that speak for itself a little bit, right? Like the 7 really had no chance there when he was staked and in the alchemical fire. So I actually hit more shots than it looked like, but you know, Infernus, that's just kind of Infernus's domain, and I took a lot of damage over time there, and we actually ended up kind of losing that fight. It's not great. See though, I'm just doing some boxes, being a good Amazon employee. And here we go. Remember, guys, like, you can use the alchemical fire for farming. And not just that, you can use your ult for farming as well. Obviously, right? Like, I'm not anticipating a team fight. We just had a team fight. We lost. I'm not going to need my ult yet, and the charges come back every 30 seconds. So if I can use those to farm efficiently, then I'm going to do it. Get a few more boxes. I'm going to do an extra push here to make sure that this lane gets pushed out. And then I'm going to go ahead and change make sure that it's on targets as we're getting in here into the mid game, so that, you know, my decision making will be on what I see. And let me point out to you that I have just maxed out my crow. Now I bought improved cooldown, Healbane, and Spirit Lifesteal. So you'll see in the build, right? Actually, let's go ahead and watch this team fight. So I actually thought my team was going in there, which is why I went pretty ham and pretty aggressive, but we were not. So luckily I was able to get out. But you'll see in the build, right, I have when Crow starts cooking, and that's when we get Healbane and Spirit Lifesteal. I discussed a little bit earlier that you can get Healbane earlier if you want, but it becomes really insane now. And Spirit Lifesteal, though, really doesn't do anything on Vindicta until you get your Crow online. So you definitely don't want to be buying that until now, when Crow starts cooking. And then obviously improved cooldown is an item that just kind of buffs all your cooldowns. So pretty self-explanatory. You'll see often that when I try and defend an objective, I'm doing this. You know, I'm throwing the Crow and the stake, and I'm trying to stop people. Unfortunately, you see he actually got Divine Barriered by somebody, and so I wasn't able to finish the kill there. I hit the Crow on Geist though, which is nice. It's a huge bag I would love. But it's more important to be safe and not die here because I have 3 teammates dead. And yep, 3 teammates dead. They're gonna go for mid boss. It's really not looking good for us, right? We're down 20k souls. Another thing about alchemical fire, it is good for kind of contesting mid. So I throw it in here. Tried him with a Crow, but it's not great. Luckily, just barely able to get out. I hit the Crow on this guy. You can see how much damage this is going to take. Let's just go ahead and see this because nothing else is happening. So it just does half his HP. That's why Crow's pretty nuts. And this is without, you know, escalating exposure, without like improved duration extender or the 3000 improved cooldown. So yeah, this is when things really start cooking and you're really having like the hybrid part of the build. Unfortunately, right, earlier in this match, our team picked up the urn when it was more even, and so it had set the delivery point to the neutral delivery point, even though right now it should be on our side. So I don't know if that's a bug or a gameplay design choice. The urn's changing all the time, so I won't go too much into this. But that being said, I was kind of like what do I do? And then I was like, oh, I'm just gonna drop it. But then I realized, why am I dropping it over here? And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna be really stupid, and I don't know why I do this. I like go over here and I throw it over there. I don't know what I'm doing. I pretty much delivered it to the other team. Like, where's my PayPal money? Like, and you see here now, like the guys like picks it up and they just deliver. I don't know what I was doing. I should have put it in our base. So I complete brain fart here, right? Eternus player, by the way. We do at least catch this guy out. Maybe he was dumbfounded that I just gave him the urn, but it's actually big for us. He had a huge bag. We get the comeback gold because he is the highest point, a lot of gold because he's the highest net worth person on his team. Obviously his bag, and I hit the snipe, so I got, you know, plus 600 plus 850 souls per assassination. So we probably got more money from that kill than they did from the urn, but that's just me coping. And so you're gonna see now, like, my playstyle is going to shift a little bit from kind of being aggressive and trying to get in over their team. Granted, I wasn't being super crazy earlier, but when you're playing like the gun build and you're focusing on the gun, you kind of have to obviously be aggressive with your fly to get in over them and finish kills. Whereas with Crow, you want to play the back of your team and you want to be hitting crows and basically debuffing the enemy and then going in and finishing kills with snipe and your gun as well. So I was just trying to push out the lane a bit for my team to deliver the urn, but it looks like they're going to be stuck in a fight. And so that's why I'm like, okay, I'm going to come over here now and I'm going to try and help out. This angle's a little sus, but I'm trying to stay at the back of everything that's happening. I managed to hit a crow, which is really good. And so that's why I'm like, okay, I hit a crow, let's go. But were postured pretty aggressively as well. And maybe my team had taken some damage I wasn't paying attention to. Hit a nice crow and then hit a nice snipe on the Yamato, which is always good. So they're pushed back a bit here. Like, they have the crow. They're all half HP. They're not able to push in on this lane 100% yet. Now, this is really important, right? Notice I just hit another triple crow. They're all ticking. You see that guy's dead. This guy's dead. And then let's go ahead and watch the Warden POV here. Notice he has a bunch of stacks of escalating exposure as well. Does that guy die? Probably not. But the point being, right, I actually didn't get any kills at that fight, but I hit the crow on half their team, and our Warden, who has 23k souls, by the way, he's like 10k souls under their entire team, was able to go in with his ult and clean up. Because at this point in the game, characters like Lady Geist and not really Paradox, but definitely like Lady Geist and Seven rely so much on their mid-fight healing from like Spirit Lifesteal and stuff like that, that when you hit them with a crow, which is obviously the percentage bleed damage, and it suppresses their healing by 40% on top of the heal bane, they're basically just going to lose that fight in a fair if your team has their full healing, which our Warden does. So he just basically ran them down and they couldn't do anything.
Let's go purple.
I have an insane amount of gold now because I got assists for all of those kills, and I've been farming consistently, pushing our lanes out for us. And so you'll see here now that I go ahead and get escalating exposure, and I buff my crow with superior cooldown and superior duration, because I just saw how impactful the crow was that fight. I decided I'm just going to go all in on the crow right now. What you could have done too is you could have bought like a weapon item if you wanted. I could have bought crippling headshot or spiritual overflow, but just because like they have Yamato and they have Paradox, if I go too aggressive, the Yamato can go on me, and if I go too aggressive and I'm not careful, like, you know, I can get Wraith ulted or Paradox swapped. So I'm deciding that I'd rather play a little bit farther back, go for crows, and that will probably work out for me a bit more. So you'll see, you know, back onto the points, the skill points, right? I maxed out my crow, and then I went ahead and evened out staked 2 and 2, and then it's really kind of, you know, it's a little bit of a toss-up. Like the disarm can be really good against things like Wraith, if she's going gun, and just in general. So I generally do max stake before I max flight. Just because at this point in the game, the extra 12 spirit damage is really not that relevant, but the stake can save you or a teammate's life if they're disarmed for 3 seconds. You see, I almost got caught out here, but luckily I was paying attention. I hit the crow on the paradox, and he just gets out. He just gets smashed, and he's just dead. Then from there, huge ult by our dynamo. I snipe Wraith's feet, rip her toes, and then 7 gets dead, and it's just looking all pretty good for us. We finish off Lady Geist, and then most of you might guess what we're going to do next, which is mid boss, of course. Perfect time to go for this. We do have to be a little careful because they do have Yamato, and Yamato is a freaking beast when it comes to stealing a Rejuvenator. So this is why we have the whole team here. Like, we're not sleeping. She actually parries like 4 of us.
Get the drop on them.
But we still get it, so it's fine. I have a ton of cash, so I'm like, oh, what do I buy? And I think okay, so I sell my hollow point word here to get my spiritual overflow. And that's just because it's a good hybrid item, right? You get fire rate, you get spirit power, a little bit of spirit lifesteal, some bullet shields. Not bad, right? So I'm not sure what we're doing here. I think we decide we're gonna go for the urn, just because like we do have Rejuvenator and everything, but the souls are really even still. I'm gonna fix this lane. No, I think we actually lost a shrine just from this lane. I'm trying to be careful because I do not see much on the map. Now I see that they went after the dynamo. And I see like a fight starting to happen. I pop my divine barrier and I pop my kinetic dash so I can get over there faster. I really don't want to be missing a fight because I provide so much utility for my team here. And instead of going around that way where I could pretty much get swapped or something, I decided to go this way. And actually ended up working nicely. I hit the crow on that guy, and then I'm able to protect my backline and kill the Eternus. And so you'll notice here, right, like the Yamato had my crow on her the entire time, and she just got ran down. Just another example, right? Like, he gets a crow and really can't do a whole lot. Like, he relies on healing mid-fight. So here I'm just prepping to get the lanes pushed in for us, because this is a really big opportunity for us to push. I have a shit ton of gold, but souls or whatever. But important we go ahead and go and try to get the patron down as fast as possible so that we can kind of go for the finish. We'll finish the patron off. While that's going down, I just make sure the other guardians are killed, just so that our creeps can get in. So I finished that one just because why not. But now our whole team goes for the kill here. They're all respawning, but we're able to we're gonna be able to finish it off quickly here. So why go for like a 50-50 fight? Because we were only up 10 we were only up 10k souls here at the end. Why go for like that sort of 50-50 fight in the pit when if you can finish, you should go for the finish every single time? With that being said, that is the hybrid Vindicta build. If you check out the damage dealt by type, really solid hybrid damage. The crow matching the gun damage here is really solid. Assassinate is actually a big MVP here as well. I think I probably now with the current build would be going for rapid recharge a bit earlier in the game, just because I had so much gold. Alchemical fire, putting in a ton of work. But yeah, please check the description for the build ID if you need it. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe for more guides and content, and I will see you in the next one.